President Todd, members and guests. As you recall, about probably 6-9 months ago now, I brought forward a project to buy the Aquarium, and that was subsequently approved. And since that time, Mark has asked me to join the board of the society, and I have accepted, and subsequently got voted Vice President of Discovery Passage Sea Life Society. And we have also applied for charity status, so we should be able to issue tax receipts for any personal donations this year. We are in the process of applying for various grants to get funding to complete it. And I'll let Mark give you an update on our location and then what we're going to accomplish and try to have it open by June. Ocean's Day.
Wake up. Yeah, just the screen's closed.
Necessary
No.
hoops to jump.
At the front. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's been quite a process to get this organized, and the response of the community is very positive. Everybody's quite excited about it. I had the opportunity to go to the Maui Aquarium last week, and I looked at a couple of their tanks, and circular tanks in particular is one that we're going to try to get for our aquarium, and it's pretty phenomenal. So I think it'll be a great addition to Campbell River. With that, I give you Dr. Mark Wunsch.
Well, thank you, Laurie. Thank you, and President Todd for inviting me over. It's good to be back. Last time was my first time speaking to a Rotary audience, and so I have some experience now. I also presented to your colleagues from the Morning Club, and so I'm pleased to give you a few updates on where we are at on the way to establish the Discovery Passage Aquarium here in Campbell River. So just to remind you maybe a little bit, the idea underlying the aquarium is to provide an opportunity for people to encounter sea life. Campbell River is about sea life, a lot about sea life. It has a long history with fishing. It has this long shore line here, the Discovery Islands all around. But there's not really an opportunity to encounter the sea life of people who are not divers or snorkelers. So that's, and I'm a marine biologist and educator, journalist. So I lived in Thailand for 2.5 years working with the public aquarium there, just before I moved out here 4 years ago. And while there I thought, well, we need something here in this area as well, because there's not an opportunity to get people engaged in the marine and coastal life. So, and then the opportunity came up with the Euclid Aquarium. They had founded their society, ran this aquarium for 7 years very successfully before they moved into a bigger facility. And so we were offered the opportunity to purchase their first aquarium. And we thought this is a good opportunity to start small and grow community, because you don't run an aquarium just as a big facility and start and you go, because there's a lot of things on the way to learn. And so yeah, that's where we are at. And I can't advance. Well, it doesn't work for this one. Can you volunteer? Okay. So just so, and when I presented last time, you were in the after that session, you were so kind and donated 15 grand so that we were able to purchase the actual building with most of the tanks. And we had formed the society back then, and formed a board that is comprised of educators and people like Laurie, who like the idea of an aquarium to bring that to Campbell River. And so we've been working since on establishing ourselves. We got a logo. You will see that more around town now. It's this little hermit crab grabbing the aquarium, and it signals that it's a hands-on facility. So it's all about education for us. We think it's not just education for kids. Although we kind of tend to think a lot about our kids, it's also for adults, if we're honest, right? Because who has the opportunity to get hands-on experience with sea life? But the aquarium is really about the hands-on encounter with what is hidden in the ocean. Right, this is yeah, please. So this is a snapshot from the aquarium, how it was set up in Euclid. You can expect something similar but still different. The decoration will be different, colors will be different, tanks arrangement will be different. We have applied, for example, for a cylinder tank that would here represent a salmon display. If we get the funding, we're just about to hear about it from the Pacific Salmon Foundation. Yeah, please. And the siting, we finally homed in on this pretty confined space, but it's very central, right at the fishing pier. Can you see the red rectangle there? That's where we are going to sit. And we worked with the city together with the Harbour Authority, BC Hydro, because they have lines in the ground there, to clarify if that's possible and where the limits are. So we were just able to squeeze the building in there. I don't know how many of you work in real estate, but it's real estate is about location, 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 right? That's why we homed in on that spot. There's parking there, about the only close to downtown parking that is kind of available in the summer, because all the other spots are pretty much taken. We increase this theme of the Maritime Heritage Center, the harbor, the working harbor with the fisher boats and pilot boats, and the pier. So that's something we felt we can do for the downtown Kemper River, is just to emphasize that theme there. And also we hope to benefit, of course, also from the market and people who come down there anyways. So please. And so colors and decoration will change of the building. It'll get some nice curved stairs to go up there. It'll tie into the pier entrance, just like butting up to the second ramp that there is. Please go on. And so it'll be, the decoration outside on this picture is not quite as the final will be, but we'll have big animals and a few kelp leaves on the side to make the building visible already from the road. And because we want to be visible, we want to make a statement there. And yeah. So how does an aquarium tie into the community? In many ways. We are all about education. There will be training opportunities with animals, husbandry of animals, also customer relationship, very important for young people to learn a bit about how you deal with the public. We have the mandate as a society to do science or support, facilitate scientific project. And in fact, you may want to watch out. We'll have quite a project lined up for the summer already, where we're going to explore the deeper waters around the Discovery Passage here. So you may want to watch out. I'll probably can talk about that in more detail another time. So it ties in with the community. We're community driven. We're looking for volunteers from the community, funding. Tourism will benefit in a great way, we think, because it's just one more attraction here, and people can stop and spend time in Kemper River. So that immediately employs, creates some employment. We'll work with a part-time manager for the season. We'll be open from May to this year we will open in June, but the idea is to be open from May to end of September. And then the animals get released again with a big party, a release party. And so they can thrive until next year, and maybe they get caught again or whatever. So that's the idea, to really not to impact the environment much. We'll have an open system pumping the water out of the ocean and channeling you back. If we have spawnings in the aquarium, the larvae will go straight back. Right? Okay. So yeah, the opening day, we're envisioning to open on Ocean's Day. I think it will be a good match, and that's only 2 months away.
2 months, yeah.
I give you an update on where we are at the moment. On the next slide, please. So this is the building that you saw in the pictures before, disassembled, because it was built in a way that it could be disassembled and put into stacks and stored away, because they had to do that a couple of times in Euclid. So we brought all that over, and it's waiting for us to reassemble and make it look good. And in the site, this is only part of the stuff that we were able to purchase with your great help. So let's continue. So we've pretty much gone through the development permit at this point, and the city has been very helpful to make this happen. We've provided elevation drawings and that you saw for the building permit, and we are now in the fundraising phase still in the community and with businesses. We have had good feedback, and I put it out there. If there are any contacts or so that can help, please let us know. And we have also various grants on the go, which are still waiting. It's always this waiting game. You put in a grant, and then it's a juggle, of course, what turns out and what doesn't. But I think it's looking good with some smaller grants, but also the Pacific Salmon Foundation. We are hopeful to get this great cylinder tank, and we're going to put one in for iced tea. It's only coming up now, so we're recruiting volunteers and just going through the process of recruiting staff as well, and to develop training opportunities with our partner facilities. And as a side information, maybe there's another facility like us starting up in Newfoundland, St. John's, the Petty Harbor Aquarium, which also originated from the little nucleus in Euclid. So that's a spin-off, so we're kind of Canada-wide network from East Coast to West Coast and to the East Coast of Vancouver Island. So that is nice because we can exchange and facilitate each other with a lot of information and details. So that's great, and it will be really nice. So we are looking at putting up the structure early mid-May, depending on how the building permit goes and how we can line up the trades and so on. So that's the time frame. We have created a funding opportunity schedule, and this seems to work out really well for people to give them an orientation for businesses where they want to stand in terms of sponsorship, how they will be acknowledged. So we created this category, founding sponsors, and you were in there as our first bigger sponsor to donate over $5,000, and so we were enlightened also to hear that the city also wants to become a founding sponsor. So and we also have under those categories, and the tank sponsorships there on an annual basis. That's part of our will be part of our annual fundraising cycle to sell or promote these tank sponsorships, so people can have a plaque on the tank and say, okay, well, this is my tank, this is my business sponsoring this tank, or this is a private person who wants to do that. And it worked out really well in Euclid as well. Okay. So if you want more information, we have created the first website. Looks like this, or a bit similar, a bit different meanwhile, and it will be evolving over time. We'll put more content on it, but it's as the basics for now. And the next slide will give you a hopefully very long but easy to remember code. It's www Discovery Passage Aquarium. So we thought it's long, but on the other hand, that's easy to remember. .ca. Okay. Yeah, so thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer, Laurie, together to answer any questions there.
Thank you, Mark, for coming back. And I want to acknowledge all the work that you've done to make this happen. So thank you for that. Just a question on the sponsorship. Are the tank sponsorships, are those annual sponsorships?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas the other founding ones are more permanent?
That's right. That's one time, or I mean, it can happen any year, but
Right.
we'll add to the list, and the annual sponsorship is like for the exhibition every year to keep it up and running, and also support the school programs that we're to subsidize the schools that they can afford to come.
Right. And for the benefit of those that missed it, and on behalf of Ian and Graham and I, can you just mention the thing about how the city was in dealing with it?
Thanks, Andy.
Larry Chen, did you have a question?
Yes. Will this facility be wheelchair accessible?
Yes.
And
Yes.
will there be washrooms
Washrooms are at the
at the building?
at the pier and the Maritime Heritage Center, so we are covered in that respect, which is great. And there's you couldn't see that on this drawing. We make quite an effort to connect to the wheelchair ramp in the back of the building. So we use the wheelchair ramp, and it comes back on the exit, kind of on the back side of the building. So we'll have an exit, and it'll be also the entrance for wheelchairs. So.
The other thing is that when I was in Oregon recently, they had actually bricks on the sidewalk for sponsors as well, not sponsors, but people who donate. That might, just wondering if that was entertained at all too,
Yeah, we are planning on a wall sign, I think, but yeah, it's a good way to.
Patricia?
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I'm just wondering, is there going to be a cover charge to get in to see the displays?
Yes, yeah.
And how much is that going to be?
So it's we were looking at $6.50 for adults and $4 for children. And under 6 are free, up to 6 are free, and school kids we are looking at about $2.
Hang on, Marlene. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, Mark, do you foresee an expansion of the facility? And what would that look like?
We'll see how it goes, and
Yeah.
we are open to to push it further as the opportunities grow, and certainly we regard it as a kind of temporary stage, but maybe 5 years, maybe more. We don't know at this point, but it's certainly the vision that this could grow as community grows and as support grows.
Yeah, sure.
Marlene, you had a question?
Yes, Mark, is there room at that location for expansion?
That particular site, it's tight. So unless, I mean, there were suggestions also from city staff that we could like overbuild the ramp, or kind of incorporate it into the place. So if you would work that way, yes, there would be some, but still limited room, or you would have to rearrange certain services in the area, like the way traffic goes. So.
Thank you.
Ted?
Welcome back, Mark. The animals you're going to release obviously implies the animals you have there. Can you tell us about what animals you're going to have on display?
Right. Oh, it's a whole list. It's about probably 70, 80 species. So I'll just give you maybe a rough rundown. I mean, there's sea stars, sea cucumbers, urchins. The sea cucumbers and sea stars are those animals which are they can be touched. Most of them, sea urchins, you have to be very careful. You may not want to do that. Crabs, for sure, and there's those touch tanks. And there's also plants, of course, like kelp. And with the kelp comes an ecosystem. So there's crabs and kelp greenlings, gunnels. I don't know if you're familiar with all the fish. Sculpins. We have a great variety of sculpins around here, which you see from tide pools to the deep water and even in the fresh water, but we will concentrate on the marine environment. And salmon, So we are going to work with a hatchery to get salmon smolts for the salmon display, but also it's not just about the species. I always think in stories and habitats. So how do we explain the environment to the guests, right? And so we'll have a display on the estuary with the seagrass beds, because they are very important for the salmon when they come out of the river. So there's a whole line of stories. Once they hit the salt water, they need certain environment and food at that time when they come out to survive. If you don't do that, then you don't have salmon. So there's those puzzles and those ecological stories that we want to tell. And there's nudibranchs, the colorful nudibranchs, anemones, corals, little corals, very colorful orange corals, sea pens. There's a whole range of animals, the plankton as well.
Are you into otters and seals and that sort of stuff?
No, no mammals. Mammals have to pay and walk in.
Ask a question, go ahead, Jenny.
I was just wondering what age of volunteers are you looking at if we're going to have younger kids involved in a volunteer aspect as well? Right.
They should be able to be without immediate supervision. Otherwise, it's
more work.
a group or something to take care of. But it's so yeah. So
You have to be toilet trained.
for sure. Well, that would be the biggest problem because we have washable floors.
Larry, last question.
Just back to the pricing there. Is there a price for students, and if a school group wanted to come down, is that taken into consideration?
Come out with it, Larry. You want to know if there's a seniors price. They're talking about it. They are going there probably, Larry. Just relax, they're going to go there.
Yeah, it's double for seniors because they have money. So that we can have half price for school children. Just to reiterate, I think, and don't quote me on that, but it's the general idea because we haven't printed anything in terms of we're a bit like it comes just maybe on the 7th of June or something. We put the price tag. Like school children that we are looking at like half price, like $2, and children for adults $6.50 around that figure, right?
Deborah.
Well, thank you very much for your informative information. We're really looking forward to seeing it get up and going. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Sign this book, and we're going to go into that to the Carrier Daycare Center.
Okay. There's no marine life in here.
Yeah, I'll be around for one.
Thank you.